Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Fishing Lakes apiary for another of our Honeybee Polystyrene Langstroth hive series of videos. This series of videos is being sponsored by Honeybee, who produce a range of beekeeping equipment, but particularly the Honeybee Polystyrene Langstroth hives, and they've very kindly supplied us with a range of their equipment to demonstrate and to use through this season to produce this series of videos. If you'd like to see some of our other videos that we're producing, take a look at the links in the description below and go across to our other sites and have a look at those videos there. Today we're going to use the Honeybee Polystyrene Langstroth nukes, which are 4-frame nukes, to introduce some new queens that we've recently purchased into those nukes. I've not used these queen cages before, but the poly nukes are great in that they are self-contained small units of 4 frames on Langstroth frames, which means that you get quite a lot of bees in a 4-frame nuke, but they're not so large that they're unmanageable when you're introducing a new queen. I've not actually used these particular type of queen cages before, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. But let's take the camera through into the apiary. We'll show you the nucleus that we're using, the nuke box that we're using, and then we'll have a look at the queen cages and the introduction process. So this is our Honeybee Polystyrene Langstroth nuke. It's a fairly straightforward nuke, pretty much like all the others. The benefit from my perspective is that they're very lightweight because I have this ongoing back problem, so lifting them around is really super easy. It comes as the usual format: floor, 4-frame nuke brood box and a roof, and a little plastic entrance here which slots in, can be turned over for when they're super busy. And really the one thing to say about them is that they're really easy to use. The roofs double up as a secondary floor, and we've got another one which we can show you where we've got another nuke box on top with a roof on top of that because we ran out of floor space. And so you can actually have 2, I wouldn't go 3, but you could have 2 nukes, 2 separate nuke colonies, one on top of the other, which allows you to double up throughout an apiary. So what we're going to do is just introduce a queen into this colony. I'll just go and get the queen cage and we'll have a look at that, and then we'll just get it into this colony, and hopefully she'll be released and we'll get a new colony all set up ready for the summer. Here's our queen cage. You might be able to see the queen with the blue dot, and we've got a matchstick in ready to suspend it. And what we need to do is to just break a tab here to allow the attendant workers out, and that will allow the workers out but not the queen. So we'll just see if we can snap that off. Probably need a hive tool to do that. So that tab comes off, and that allows the attendant workers out. And that means that the queen will then be alone in the queen cage, and we can then open up the second tab, which is just here, and then the bees in the nuke can chew their way through the fondant and release the queen. So we'll just give them a couple of minutes and allow the bees to vacate the queen cage. The queen can't get through, so she'll just be held inside the cage itself. So here you can see all the attendant workers are now out of the queen cage, but the queen can't actually get out herself because there's a little peg that's stopping her from squeezing through. So the next task is to take out the plate that covers the fondant so that the bees can then chew through the fondant and release the queen into the nuke. So there we've broken the seal for the tab that covers the fondant, and now we can pop the queen into the nuke, and the bees can chew through the fondant and release the queen into the nuke. So here we have a queenless nuke. I'm just going to give them a little bit of smoke. We need to just check for queen cells. It's only a 2-frame nuke, because that's all we had available at the time, and we have got one emergency queen cell there, but there's enough bees in here to look after the new queen, and we've got an emergency cell here, so we'll take that out as well. That will make them hopelessly queenless, and so now they will need to have a new queen in order to survive. But it's important that you remove all of the queen cells so that the queen will be accepted. So next we can take the queen in her cage, and we can pop her onto this frame. Sit her there, and the bees can now chew through the fondant to release the queen. And that goes back in, and we're going to leave that for about a week. And she should then hopefully be out of the cage, and we'll come back next week and show you the result of our queen cage release. So this is our double nuke. We've got the standard nuke on the bottom in blue, so we have the floor, the brood box, and then the roof, and then on top of that we've got another brood box, so a nucleus brood box painted in green, but the roof of the bottom nuke has a recess which acts as a floor, which gives us an entrance at this side. So we've got one entrance as standard on my right, your left, and then we have the additional floor this side. And that's great because we've been able to double up on the nukes that we've got without having to have an additional floor. And if we wanted to unite, we could simply remove the bottom roof, put a sheet of tissue in, and unite two colonies together. So if we were perhaps raising a queen to use elsewhere, we could do that in the top box or the bottom box, remove one queen, have a queen in the other box, and then simply unite the two together. And it's quite a nice little feature, one that for the first time we've actually had to use because we ran out of floors. My thanks to Honeybee Hives for sponsoring this series of videos. If you'd like to take a look at the back catalogue of videos that we've produced, we are producing around 3 or so videos a week for our Patreon page, so do take a look at that. There's a link down in the description below, and if you've got any questions, please send them via my website. There's a contact page, and again there's a link down in the description below. We've had to disable the comments on the videos because we just don't have enough time to be able to answer all of the queries. But if you've got a burning question that you want to send across, then pop over to my website or go to the Honeybee website and fire off a question to them directly. Well, that's it for today. We're going to head off and sort some more queens into other nukes that we've got prepared. But for now, thanks for watching.